Hello everyone. On this section we're going to be talking about intercepts, and so let me explain intercepts to you. If you're looking at this graph, you can see that the blue line goes through at 2, 0 and 0, -8. So where it goes through the x-axis, that's called our x-intercept, and where it goes through the y-axis, which is the 0, -8, that's called the y-intercept. If a graph crosses the x-axis at -3, 0 and the y at 0, 7, then those are your intercepts, right? The x-axis is whatever ordered pair it is on the x-axis, which will always be a number with a 0, and on the y-axis it will be 0 and some number. So basically you just have to learn to understand how to recognize intercepts, and then also I'm going to teach you how to find intercepts when you're given an equation. Looking at these two graphs, we're going to identify the intercepts, and you can see that I have those labeled with some points that are blue. So let's look at the first graph, which is the graph of a line, and you can see this blue point right here, and that's on the x-axis at 2, 0, so that is the x-intercept. And then the y-intercept is here at 0, -4, right? And that's the y-intercept. So learning to recognize the intercepts on the graph, the kind of ordered pairs that you would name for intercepts, those are important. And so you can see on this one we just had one of each, but on the next one, this looks like an ellipse. It has more than one intercept on each axis. So let's look at the x-intercepts. We have an x-intercept right here at 3, 0, and we also have an intercept at -3, 0. So those are my x-intercepts because they're on the x-axis. On the y-axis we have an intercept at 0, 5, and we have another intercept on the same axis at 0, -5. All right, so you can see which axis they're on, and that would obviously be the intercepts. So x-intercepts at -3, 0, 3, 0. Y-intercepts 0, -5, and 0, 5. Okay, so when we're graphing equations and we want to find the intercepts, we simply have to substitute in a 0. So to find the x-intercept, we put we make the y 0 and solve for x, and to find the y-intercept, we put x in for 0 in for x and solve for y. Okay, so let's take a look at this. If I'm finding the x-intercept, then I'm going to substitute a 0 for y. Okay. And you see what happens when I substitute this way. This term is just eliminated, and I get that x equals -4. So my x-intercept is at -4, 0. I'm going to write this. Intercept. The main thing that, these are not hard to find, but it's remembering how. It's always involving putting zeros in. Okay, so let's look at our y-intercept. I'm just going to label it up here. To find the y-intercept, we put a 0 in for x. So that makes it x minus y equals -4. So that term is just gone because we substituted a 0 in there. We're going to divide by -1 to solve for y. And we see that y is +4. Now typically, I would ask students to find a third point to double check, because if you miss your sign or something on one of these, then your line could be going in completely the wrong direction because you just missed the sign. But for us, right now, I'm just going to teach you to find the x and y intercepts, and then we might start putting a third point on. And so we can graph any line with 2 points. But if we miss a sign, then our line's going in a different direction than it was supposed to be going. So I'm going to graph the point -4, 0. And 0, 4, my pen does these silly things, and 0, 4, and then we just draw the line that goes between those, which that's always difficult. It's much nicer if it's on a piece of paper with a ruler. Anyway, so there are our X and Y intercepts, right? X intercept is on the X-axis. The Y-intercept is on the Y-axis. And that is how we find X and Y intercepts. Okay, so it looks like this video is already up to about 5 minutes, so I'm going to stop it, and then we'll pick up again on the next video.